All right, guys. Welcome to the latest edition of Pit Stop. Today is August 12th and otherwise known as Car Week. Today's Tuesday, so I guess it kind of kicked off I guess the trucks were unloading the cars and such over the weekend. This time last year, I saw some of the trucks unloading the cars on a Sunday. I was not able to make the week. I've never been to Car Week, like for the actual official events with regard to the quail and all that stuff. This year's different. I'm super excited to attend on Saturday, so I will be at Laguna Seca only. I'm unfortunately not going to be up north at all this week during the week, but I will be at Laguna Seca on Saturday as it stands right now. I've already got a ticket. Super excited for that. The historics, all the old cars on track. I don't know, maybe that's like the closest thing we have to Goodwood. But I'm super pumped. If any of you are going to Laguna Seca on Saturday, DM me, hit me up. Would love to connect. Would love to see you. It's definitely going to be fun. As many of you know, my in-laws live in NorCal, so I will be visiting them as well. So it should be a fun weekend. Gonna hit up my favorite pizza spot in Redwood City. If you don't know where that is, hit up my website under the travel section. It is listed there, and that's the only information I'm going to give you right now. I love that place. So yeah, that's Car Week. I'm finally going to be able to attend an event rather than several. Most people go up for multiple days. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do that. Speaking of time, the baby is asleep, so this will be shorter. I say this every time, but this pit stop is going to be shorter. Gran Turismo Auto gonna be at Laguna Seca on Sunday. Well, I hate to miss you, brother. Would love to see you, but I am Saturday only. So yeah, baby's asleep, so let's get moving. Speaking of Car Week and speaking of events, something I've been thinking about doing for a really long time, and some of you know this, many of you do, maybe you don't, but I used to write a men's fashion and lifestyle blog. It's technically still up. It's called Screaming Mouth. I used to do freelance PR like in the late aughts. Up in LA, and that was sort of the name that I went by, is Screaming Mouth. It was more like a public relations name, which made its way onto Blogspot, and that was my blog. It's still up, like I said. I haven't written on there probably since 2013 or something like that. I think it was my job at Gucci. Talk about time and like the way of the world changing. Gucci made me put a stop to writing my blog because I was employed by them, meanwhile promoting other brands' products in their eyes. Today, there's no way a company like Gucci could stop its employees from having a blog. I mean, that would be like them saying you can't have Instagram. So, interesting times. But yeah, that was my blog. And writing is something I've always been interested in. I've always wanted to have that as an outlet of some sort somewhere in my life. So I would say as of late, most of that is through I was mentioning the travel section of my website. Some of those like descriptions and the product descriptions for that matter on my website are sort of ways that I do kind of get that out of my system, though I have a few articles and ideas that I really want to get out of my head. There are contributing, contribution type articles I'd love to do. I've actually recently, and this is sort of under wraps, but I was invited by a watch brand to attend a car event and do a write-up. Now, they are trying to reach more automotive people, which I think is why I was approached, because I'm tied into sort of both communities. But with that said, I'm not really tied into automotive journalism in the same sense that I am with watch journalism, which is interesting. So I bring this up in order to request a favor and or ask for some help. And that's if you know of any automotive publications that may want to accept an article that I would be writing. I would love to hear what you have to pitch. Granted, I'm going to be writing things like this borderline for free to start. So it wouldn't cost the automotive journal any money to take on my article. If I can land a home for said article or recap of the event that I was invited to, I will be, I think, compensated for the travel to get to the event. I may not have that clear, but that's my understanding. So unless I have someone to publish this article, I will not be going to the event, thus I won't be hired. So I'm reaching out to all of you in hopes that we can find a home for a potential article that I'll be writing as a recap for this automotive event, but promoted by way of a watch brand, if that's making any sense. So yeah, would love to hear your thoughts and ideas and get your help. So thank you. Speaking of help, I have definitely been considering what colors to do going forward. Obviously, those who've shopped from Standard H before understand that a lot of the color inspiration come from automotive paints. If you just so happen to catch my Instagram stories over the last week, you'll have seen that I stopped at PEC, Porsche Experience Center in Los Angeles, aka PECLA, and they've got like their sort of car molds in each of paint colors. So I oftentimes reference with a Pantone book those to get them very, very accurate. I have several ideas in mind for some colors that I'd like to do. But if you're craving colors, by all means, always hit me up and say, look, I would really love an Avant t-shirt in this color, or, the RS t-shirt would be really, really cool in this color. Usually customer feedback like this, usually ends up being very unique. And what I mean by that is borderline the textbook definition of what unique means. I oftentimes that I find that one person thinks it's a good idea. And, but if it's something that I could foresee being sort of, a group type of situation, or could have, a gravitational pull by more than one, let's say, then I would love to do it. I don't like to use the word commercial, but a little bit more commercial than, to match your one-off car that you're the only one that has it. I've got to sell this stuff at the end of the day. But again, like, open to ideas. I'm always open to hearing things. So if you guys have color ideas, would love to hear it. Especially with regard to like the t-shirts and such. Some of the hats and things are, I'm not really, I can't really produce the hats in like a custom color the same way I can do the t-shirts. So just take that as like a little nugget. But speaking of hats, the one I'm wearing is the OG black with white shift logo trucker. This is the hat that I literally launched this company with in 2015. The patch was a little different back then, not nearly as good a quality. These are all embroidered here in California. So that's pretty cool. These were out of stock for the better part of a year or two, and I just brought those back. So if you guys like black hats, this is sort of the one that's made an appearance again online, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully you guys are too. And then speaking of hats, I've got a new golf hat coming out. You may or may not have noticed that the dad hats online have been sold out. But I've got navy as well as white coming back as golf hats. Now these are literally a limited edition type of thing. These aren't like numbered or anything, but this will be probably a one and done deal. I've made a total of 12 of each. So it's really interesting, as you may or may not have known from before. I did some golf products back in during COVID, and the logo is taken. I wish I had them in this here again. I am doing a live podcast and forgot to bring the product with me, so I apologize. But the logo is inspired by a vintage Porsche steering wheel, notably the 356. So if you're familiar with those old wooden steering wheels, they'd have steel sort of forks, if you will. There's usually 3 of them. Well, the design of this logo is the 2 forks up top remain the same, and then the one below I made into a golf tee, so the center of the steering wheel acts as a golf ball, effectively. So kind of a cool logo. It's sort of again, as I love to do, it sort of solicits a double take. A lot of people get it, and others ask questions, and that's great because they serve as a great, conversation starter. So with that in mind, you'll get the, oh, cool, is that an old steering wheel? And the answer is yes. In fact, it is. And 356 Porsche, to be specific. That's really all I had to say. This is going to be a quick one, like I said. These are meant to be anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. I often go from 35 to an hour, depending on questions. It appears this Tuesday is driving a little less traffic here online. I'm seeing with people that are joining this conversation. Not quite as many people as usual, but that's cool because this episode is really short. It's been 12 minutes. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining this edition of Pit Stop. Again, these will come and go. There's no rhyme or reason as to when I do them other than they usually coincide with sort of events that I've got going on. And this week is Car Week. I don't think I'll do another pit stop before the next thing I'm doing, but I'm going to New York City the end of September. I'm really looking forward to that. And then I so far have it on the calendar that I will be going to Lufkikel in Durham, North Carolina, the first weekend of October. There's only like a 1% chance that I won't be going, and that's for reasons I won't go into. But so right now it's looking like I will be back-to-back weekends on the East Coast. So end of September, New York, beginning of October, I will be in Durham. That's all I got. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Happy Tuesday. And hope you have a great rest of your week as well. Hit me with any ideas, any feedback. Would love to hear it. Chase, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.